Good afternoon. We're in Torino, not in Milano, not in Naples, not in Rome. So the city which is really far away from all the international architecture and design routes right now. And why is that? Because of Carlo Mollino and because of his place, Casa Molino, which was like a hidden apartment, hidden studio. And he appeared here only during the nighttime, and none of his friends, which some of them lived right the street from here, didn't know about the Casa Molino. And when it was discovered in 1973, right after his death, it was found 1,500 fantastic Polaroids with fantastic women. And now we'll get the idea. Why is that? Let's study it. Fulvio, thank you very much for our ability to be here one more time, because the last time I was completely shocked after this space. Who is Carlo Molino for you? Architect? I don't know, maybe somebody else?
Obviously, Carlo Molino was an architect. He was graduating architecture, but in his life Molino was professional in many different interests that he had in his life, that are ski, that are photography, that are cars, that are airplanes, that are romances. So at the end, to define Molino in one work, I can tell you that Molino was a philosopher in the sense of the Greek term. Philosophy means someone that is trying to understand something. And in fact, in his life, Molino was understanding everything in every possible direction.
Continuing the idea, and from our last meeting, you told that, for example, he wrote a fantastic book about skiing, then he stopped doing that. Then he wrote a book about architecture, and he ended this process. And finally, he made a fantastic Polaroid, 1,500 or more or less, like photos of women.
In fact, this work, it's in some way, again, an architectural work, because Molino understood that the most beautiful structure existing on the earth, it's a feminine body for us human. So Molino was involved in the study of the feminine body, because if you're able in having in your hands this kind of laws, you are able in designing everything at the same level. That means the top level possible.
So at the present moment, it looks a bit like a bedroom, but I know that it isn't. So it's like it's not a bed, it's a boat.
It's a boat.
So why is that?
See, because this at the beginning was incomprehensible, because 2 bedrooms, too much in an apartment, because Molino has no friends. Okay, but at the point we understood that this cushion, that this is not a bed, but is representing a boat. That means the trip that we are doing in our life, like Ulysses with his boat, and this Greek culture from which Molino was coming. So the direction of the boat is the direction of a kind of helicopter helicopter because the boat is going toward the ceiling lamp, but this is not the ceiling lamp. This is an egg. That means the symbol of a new life, full of light. And at a point, this egg of the new life will trespass the cupola of the sky under which we are spending our mortal life to be developed into the forthcoming life. Obviously, the most important part is this unbelievable collection of fake butterflies, because in fact they are prints, they are not real butterflies. And this is symbolizing, the butterfly is the symbol of the beauty of the feminine body. So this is symbolizing a kind of army of butterflies. These are Molino words. So he was joking with a friend, and he told to this friend that he was constructing an army of butterflies. So we should see, in fact, hidden in this wall, an army of women. And this can be seen, and now we can better understand what Molino was doing with his work with models, because you should see, always in the Molino works, every kind of work, you have to consider, and you have to ask yourself, which is the content, because Molino was not really working for the aesthetic. When you're working for the content, from the content you will have an aesthetic.
No, it's like vice versa, because we're doing...
Exactly. Everyone is looking to...
a picture.
Exactly. Even when he's considering, Molino was a fantastic photographer. Everyone knows the Polaroid, this work, obviously that is very easy. But Molino wrote in 1943, before the war, this book on the photography. Can you imagine a book like this? Is representing everything that you can realize with the camera. So camera is the tool, the artist is an artist, so every artist is bringing us in different fields, in different point of view. That means art, that means document, story, test. So you see, this is Molino, very cultivated. So what we know is only a little part of the big photographic work that Molino did in his life.
How did he got his project? I'm talking about the theater. How was it possible?
See, the mayor, to solve the problem of the reconstruction of the theater, gave to Molino the charge directly without any competition. And
lucky he was.
See. And Molino started this project again in a very symbolic way, because if you see the plan of the theater, exactly, the shape is a feminine body, is a torso, is a Greek torso, because the theater is the place in which every night art born. So this, it's representing the theater, the big architectural woman hosting the perpetual birth of the heart. This is the reason. The theater is conceived by Molino with a kind of, let's say, big egg. So in this egg, you are again lost through the light, because the light is, as you can see, is a reflection, multiple reflection of thousands of little lights, bulbs, stars. This ceiling lamp that was designed by Gino Sarfatti, not by Molino, but commissioned by Molino, looks to be like a rain of spermatozoa coming inside into this feminine womb that is the start of a new life, the start of the life of the art that is representing in this interior. This wall is again very interesting, because Molino is using this star with 6 points, as we saw in Casa Molino, and it's an architectural trick because they look to be juxtaposed, but in fact on the corner they are striped. So there are bricks that are out from the
like
wall.
3D volumetric.
Exactly, and the final result is this composition. If this is the most beautiful woman existing, hosting the art world. For us, Italian, the most beautiful, important woman is the Madonna, and Madonna has a dress with the stars.
And why is Egypt presented in this fantastic place? so strange, it's so weird from the first point of view?
Because everything in this interior is representing, is symbolizing something that it's coinciding with the Egyptian project, that is to put together the pyramid that is not the tomb of the pharaoh, is the most beautiful house existing on the earth for the pharaoh that was considered half of a god. So in this interior, Mollino was making a prosthesis of the exterior, because the real house for our afterlife will be not a pyramid, obviously, but the nature from which we come. Exactly. So this interior is considered by Mollino like an extension of the exterior, because the perfection of the nature is our final destination. Mollino is in the parenthesis, in the sequence of the shapes of life of the materia, because our body is materia, everything that is human is concerning only materia. So he was mirroring with real mirrors the panorama outside and using symbols. So you see, behind us there is a wall that is covered with engravings of big wood, because outside there is a big wood. So interior, exterior, they are a continuous project. Skin of a zebra is again symbolic, it's not a decoration, but is representing the way that we have to use to go on in our life. That means there is only one straight way, that means our own way, and the rest is the labyrinth of the life in which we are lost without understanding where we are going. Like the two winged lions that are the guard of the doors in the Chinese temples or houses for the emperors. The shell are the symbol of the rebirth. The dining room is conceived with a table and 8 chairs, and in fact this is not a dining table with 8 chairs, because Mollino never lived in this interior, but is representing the composition of the lotus flower that is made with 8 petals. The chair, the name is a tulip, it means a flower. And what is much more difficult is this composition on the wall, in which you can see a very old turtle, an American artist, and this black furniture. So this composition apparently has nothing to do. Every object is absolutely strange, but we found at a point the meaning of this composition. It's the golden rectangle, because the Fibonacci sequence is giving us the golden rectangle that is used everywhere. Exactly, Greek, ancient, Le Corbusier, but the Egyptians, and all the composition, it's included till the centimeter perfectly in a golden rectangle that is standing on 3 golden rectangles, the 3 part of the furniture. Exactly, that is standing on 2 spaces that are 2 golden rectangles. So the law of the material with the life, but it exists the material without the life, that are the crystal, the minerals. So I drew a crystal with a 6 point that is connecting part of this composition. I told you, always in Mollino you have to spend a lot of time to really understand.
How did you discover this, like, for example, this composition? Was it like written by Mollino, explained?
No, zero. At that point, the only way is feel. During this life, he was coming in this interior only during the night. Okay.
And why is that?
Because again, Mollino was living, unquote, because he never lived, in fact, was staying in this interior only during the night, because the night means outside of the time. People are not bothering you, the phone is not ringing, there is no noise outside. So Mollino was inventing this word that is, you see, the top level possible of an artist. Even today, often artists are working during the night because you are out of the time. And here we are even a little bit out of the reality, because you see from the terrace we can see any building. There is the river outside that is the symbol of the life that is passing night and day. So Mollino was choosing this position, but at the end everything was closed like in a egg, like in a pyramid, because this project is only devoted to himself, not to us. And the bathroom, the general project, is the construction of the mood of the Mediterranean Sea, that means full of light. The water is down into the floor, because you go down into the water, you are not going up into the water. So this, even this
symbolic
is
thing.
Symbolic, exactly. And Molino was decorating this Mediterranean mood with, obviously, girls, because when you are on the beach, there are the girls. There is a photo of a woman that is wet. So this, even the composition of Molino, of this Mediterranean with vision, with colors, with light, and as usual, kind of dream of perfection of the meaning for which this room was constructed.
I see.
And surprisingly, you can go out from this Mediterranean, not from the entrance door, but from another almost hidden door, that is this one, because this looks to be an armoire, or who knows. In fact, it's a door. So you can come with me.
It's such a beautiful studio, maybe not a home, because he used it as a place for inspiration, as you told before. Yeah. And why he didn't have a family?
Because Molino was a very difficult man. You know, if you are a real artist, every real artist, it's a difficult person.
That's true.
Okay, so Molino, sometimes people, psychologists that are visiting Casa Molino, they are telling us that it was much better never had met Molino, because Molino had fight with his friends always,
all the time.
All the time. No one friend followed Molino for his entire life. Always at the point like there was
changing.
A fight. Yes. And this also is the reason for which Molino never had a family, because Molino, in his entire life, had only one real fiancée. That means a woman that I knew very well, a story that was that lasted 7 years. But at the point, Molino was leaving this woman, and he wrote a letter to this woman explaining why he was leaving her. This letter still exists, and it's a 33-page taped letter.
33?
Yes, it's almost a book. And in this letter you can see, you can read the real Molino, because he's explaining to this woman the impossibility for them to be a couple. But this means it was impossible for Molino to be part of a couple with which kind of woman? Impossible, because this man was, you see, too concentrated in himself, in his vision, in his work. So
philosophy.
Yes, exactly. But in the meantime, he was very active, piloting, driving cars, making buildings, because at the end of his life he was back into the architecture, and he was realizing Teatro Regio and Chamber of Commerce, that apparently are building designed by absolutely different architectural studio, because there is any connection between the two. If you look to one, you can't believe that the theater is designed by the same. So you see, the life of Molino is a life in which the unique possibility was to be absolutely 100% free, if not impossible.